Hey, Millbury, Ohio, Lake schools, and the surrounding schools in the area, to all the families, to the educators, the teachers and staff, administration, to all the students and parents. My friends, my name is Jeff Yalden, and I'm already scheduled to be coming to Lake High School on February 13th, and we're possibly adding the 14th as well. My friends, this message is for everyone. Whether you're a teacher, staff member of Lake schools, or even the outside community surrounding schools. And like I said, to all the parents, coaches, teachers, and of course, our students. I'm Jeff Yalden, the author of my latest book, Teen Suicide, The Why Behind America's Suicide Epidemic. I'm honored to be able to share with you a quick message, but I'm also in a lot of pain sharing this message with you, but I work in school communities every day. Matter of fact, for 26 years, I've worked in the trenches of the hardest hit communities, stopping suicide contagions, preventing suicides, and bringing hope to communities and young people that may have lost all hope. I educate our school communities on teen mental health, brokenness, school climate, and school culture. I answer the hardest questions that parents and teens want to know. I have a responsibility of bringing communities together to move forward. And I'm reaching out to you because, my friends, yes, I'm aware that one of our students, 6th grade, Mr. Aaron Fuller, recently ended his life. Before I say anything further, first and foremost, I'd like to offer my most sincere condolences to the Fuller family, extended family, Aaron's closest friends, to all of the teachers that may have had him, knew him, to all the teachers and staff and administration in our school community. To everybody, my friends, my thoughts and my prayers are with each and every one of you. I understand the pain and the intense heartache that you're all feeling right now. And my friends, one thing I've come to learn is sometimes there's no words other than, I'm just really sorry. I want to be sensitive, and I ask you that you understand that my intentions are pure. It's never easy to reach out like this, being sensitive and not knowing the details. So I want to be respectful. I want to be sensitive. My friends, I don't know, and I'm not saying that I know everything that happened or that has been going on, but regardless of what we know or what we think, it's important that we honor the Fuller family, the friends, our school community, and as we move forward in the grieving process, healing and finding closure in a healthy way. And it's probably a little too early to be talking about that. This week and next week is really hard, and I understand. So to all of you, let me start off with, I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry. And my thoughts and prayers, my heart is with each and every one of you. But please know, parents, for your children, it's going to be okay. I think it's one of the first messages that we need to give our kids and our teachers. It's going to be okay. But we all need to be willing to do the work that I'm about to talk about. We're all part of fixing the brokenness that's within ourselves, our kids, and frankly, I think the world that we live in. I need you to know that our youth are hurting, as well as our staff and teachers and our families, our parents. Aaron was in 6th grade. This doesn't make sense. And so now people want to know what they can do. What do you say? What about the empty chair in the classroom? And there's so many more questions. I'll tell you something, in all my years working with teenagers, especially teens today, teens don't care about crisis counselors or research, statistics, people in suits and ties and looking all dressed up and fancy. They don't care about you sitting in libraries saying, "We're here for you." This is the last thing they want. As a matter of fact, you want to make a difference in the life of a child? Then you got to answer two questions. Two questions need to be answered each and every single day by parents, teachers, coaches, trusted adults. And I'll tell you something, the most trusted adult in any child's life should be the same-sex parent. But I'll tell you why teenagers don't like reaching out to their parents or adults. They say their parents are tired and angry. It's the two words they use to describe their parents. So why would they want to reach out? And then they're afraid to ask for help or talk because they think that you don't get it, that you're not validating their feelings and their thoughts and their emotions, that they think that you're going to try to fix their problems or at least maybe try. They don't want them fixed. They want to be validated that what they are thinking and feeling is normal. And we need to teach them the thinking, thoughts are just thoughts, like the arm is an arm or the leg is a leg. Feelings needs to be validated. Feelings need to be talked about and shared. This growing up and understanding is on their terms, and today's teens are growing up differently than we did as parents. Watch my TEDx video. You'll understand. It's 90% mental illness. I'll say coping skills, problem-solving skills, interacting, communicating, social interaction, expectations, the pressures, a feeling of I'm alone, and the feeling of I'm a burden. Even a sixth grader has those feelings. And then it's habituation to physiological pain and fearsome experiences to repeated exposure to painful and provocative events that gives a child that desire for suicide. Yeah, I'll make it a little bit more understandable. My friends, teens don't want to die, but they live in the here and the now. And they look at the solution to their problems that is so far out there that they can't seem to think that they can solve it in the now. So the pain of the I'm alone and I'm a burden, think about it. It carries on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and they get discouraged with never being happy. This is a form of depression called dysthymia. Dysthymia is just this low-level depression that young people just become unhappy because they can never find happiness. I'm not saying what it is, I'm just saying that that's a form of mental illness, and it's rarely diagnosed because how do we help people if they're not asking for help? I think that's something that's important to understand. I'll tell you, our young people need relationships. They need trusted adults that are patient, that give their kids time, understanding, love, unconditional love, and they support them and validate what they feel, and that these feelings that they're feeling, they're normal. And then we have to give them and teach them coping skills and problem-solving skills. I'll tell you another thing. People ask me quite often, "Hey, Jeff, you work with young people. What do you think is the most important thing that we need to give them?" I don't hesitate. I say self-esteem. And our young people need to learn to stop waiting to be validated by people. We live in a fast, imperfect world. We got to wake up and learn to validate ourselves. And that's part of coping and problem solving. We need to give our kids balance and boundaries with the smartphones, social media, YouTube, and the internet. I don't know, but I'm going to ask this question. Let's say hypothetically this young man was, or anybody else in sixth grade is being bullied, cyberbullied. Please, I want to be sensitive. But I ask you, how old is a sixth grader? Do they have a Snapchat account or Instagram? Do they? Now, whose fault is that? It's illegal to have a social media account if you're under 13 years old. And I'm sorry if that offended you. I could talk all day about this, but I just want you to concern yourself with, there's something called the dopamine effect and social media depression and the effect that this has on teen mental health today. Again, my friends, watch my TEDx video and you'll understand. This is very serious. And teens don't have the maturity today, scientifically proven, that their frontal lobe isn't fully mature to handle the emotions that come with what the smartphones and social media platforms such as Snapchat, Instagram, group texting, YouTube, etc. does to them. Now, I'm not saying smartphones are bad, nor am I saying social media and the internet is bad. But when not using it responsibly and for the reasons that we should be using what technology has given us, it simply harms mental health, and it's taken us away from the social interaction that gives us self-esteem, that teaches us problem-solving skills and coping skills, life skills, communication skills. My friends, these are skills that are so important to the growth of our children. Too much use, essentially, it harms one's mental well-being, adding to the brokenness of our young people. More time in social interaction is benefiting our mental well-being. But where does this come from? Listen, I think cell phones and social media, the internet, pressures, colleges, grades, friends, and so much play a significant role day by day, year after year, adding up to more and more pressure to handle for these young people. And our young people are growing up. It's harder today than it ever has been. It's harder parenting today than it ever has been. It's harder teaching and coaching today than it ever has been. My friends, again, let me repeat. I don't think, as a matter of fact, I know that teens don't want to die. But I do know that suicide or thoughts of suicide ends up being where they think the solution is too far out there, that the individual doesn't see a solution in the here and the now, that they can solve their problems, and they think they'll never be able to solve them and move on. And so a lot of young people just make that forever decision based on emotion. And it saddens me that we're dealing with a sixth grader who made a forever decision based on what? 11 years of life, some 80, 75 years ahead of him. My friends, I think one of the problems is that our youth live in the here and the now. So is everything for them and us. Think about it. You text someone, you immediately get a response. You go to an ATM and you automatically pull out some cash. You call and mom picks up. We have Snapchat and Instagram where you immediately get likes. And if you don't get enough likes, then you take the picture down because all of a sudden you think that you're not funny or cute or that your life is inadequate when you compare it to somebody else. How do we as parents and teachers teach our young people that life isn't in the here and the now, when all they know is that it really is? Life isn't a race. It's a journey. An experience is going to teach you that. It's teaching our children about patience in the process of going after their goals and their dreams. But then what about college? What about college? You think perhaps that we are giving these kids this false sense of success when we tell them, oh, go to college or go here and get this degree and boom, success. What if they're not ready? Or your plan for them isn't their plan for themselves? The expectations are so great, but when they're not met, they're left to be disappointed. And They never want to disappoint you, or their parents, or their teachers, friends, or they don't even want to disappoint themselves. Hey, listen, I'm pro-education, but our children are growing up later than 15, 30 years ago. They have access to so much that it's frightening. I mean, years ago, 18 years old, and they were ready. Today, that 18 is turned into 24, 25, and that's when they're starting to mature. But the expectations of growing up, go to college and get a job is still there, leaving them scared that they're supposed to have it figured out. They don't. And we have to let them know that that's okay. And while someone might have a little idea and another teen doesn't know, that doesn't make them less of a person, or it doesn't mean that they're not going to be successful just because someone has a little idea and another person doesn't. This is my work, my friends. It's never easy to hear about a suicide, attempted suicide, or a community going through this pain. It's not easy listening to young people every day and the pain that they're having in their hearts with life circumstances, situations, the challenges, the obstacles, the home life, so much more. Like, you're expected to have it all figured out, really? Young people, ask a trusted adult in your life what their plan was at 17, 23 years old. Maybe some had a plan, but probably many of them didn't. And it's okay. I'll tell you what's important. Be present and be engaged. And 3 things I think are really important: your attitude, your choices, and your behavior. I want to be very careful in the words I use and how I say what I want to say. Please understand that my intentions are pure. My heart hurts for you all. And not one person in your community, local community, is not affected by the loss of Aaron. And to Aaron's family, I hope I get to meet you guys when I come out there. It would be my honor. A loss of any kind brings out the questions about protocol. How do we handle this? Our teens, our staff, teachers, parents. How do we move forward, we ask. And we ask why. We ask how. Our youth are growing up in a broken system in America, and America has a responsibility. But I also think we have a bigger responsibility. I think we have a responsibility to ask better questions. Not why me, or why this, or why that. I think we need to start asking some questions about how. How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better parent, a better administrator, a better teacher, a better husband, a better wife, a better teammate? I think we all need to ask better questions in life. Get to know who you are. Parents, I'm not just talking to you and teachers, but young people. Get to know who you are and be comfortable with who you are not. I love what Dolly Parton said. She said, get to know who you are and do it with purpose. And that leads me back to that self-esteem. Our young people need to learn to validate themselves, like I said earlier. The most important thing in your life right now is your self-esteem. So my friends, value yourself. And parents, we need to value our children and support them where they are and where they are feeling and thinking and hurting. It's real to them. It's real. And so I ask you, young people, stop, slow down, make good choices. Attitude matters every day. Confidence. Breathe. Just breathe right now. Ask for help. Why are we afraid to ask for help? I ask for help. Matter of fact, I do every single day. Slow down. Relax. It's going to be okay. And I'll tell you, let me ask you this question. Who's the hardest person to get to know? I bet you're probably saying, ourselves, me, us. Yeah, just remember everybody's saying the same thing. I need you all to know, young people, that you have trusted adults. Who is that trusted, significant adult in your life? Answer that. We can't do this alone. Another thing, life doesn't happen fast like you're used to. Like I said earlier, text, immediate response, phone call, someone's there, ATM, cash spits out, social media, hey, everyone likes you. We're all growing up in a superficial world, and it's having its way with our youth and the adults too. But adults, for the most part, they've learned how to cope and process their pain and issues. You can't let this affect you. I'm not just talking about the loss of Aaron. I'm talking about if someone says something or does something, or you didn't get accepted to this college, or this girl or boy broke up with you, you lost your job. It affects you, but you got to focus on it, and you got to say, okay, how can I deal with this and move forward? That's for everything in life. We all need balance and boundaries. Turn your phone off a little bit. 3 things I think is really important for our teens today. Matter of fact, I think it's good for us adults as well. But parents, I think this is something that you need to enforce, and it's every day. Sleep. Sleep, number 1. Young people need 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and if your kid is ugly, they need more. Now, hold on. I didn't call your kid ugly, but maybe your child has an ugly attitude. Sleep is nutrition. You know, our young people consuming over 200 grams more sugar in a day than they should be consuming. You know who's best friends? Sugar and depression. And number 3, get involved. Get off your devices and get more involved in extracurricular activities or school clubs, school functions and organizations. And that's one of the best things you can do. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. I'm sorry. I found out about this on Sunday. Today's Wednesday. I'm hurting for you guys. I'm hurting. I said that I don't think young people want to die. I see young people having a problem and not seeing a solution and being able to move on. And that's the point where they might think that suicide is their only option. But a teenager, a 6th grader, I know of 4th graders. I want to share with you my theory on teen suicide. A person feels that they're a burden to others, meaning that they don't make any notable contributions to the world, or they feel that they're a liability in disappointing someone. And that someone could be friends or family, their parents, the teachers, adults, workers. Or on the other side, a person feels that they're alone, meaning that they don't have meaningful relationships. And if this pain in their heart lasts long enough, they start to have that desire to want to end their life. And for the most part, that's when they start with self-harm. My friends, this is life, and life today is imperfect. I don't think it's ever been perfect. It's not easy. It's not fair. But we learn and grow every day. That's life. That's where self-esteem comes from again. I'll tell you, you wake up every day, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you do your dance, and you walk out that door. And remember 3 things I said: your behavior, your attitude, and your choices. I promise, my friends, on the other side of battling fear in life situations, the struggles, self-esteem and confidence. And don't ever let anyone take that from you. but you got to do the work. And the work is you wake up, you get up, you dress up, you show up. That's half the battle. And then you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you dance. And then the last is, remember, behavior, attitude, and choices. There's no reason that we need to complicate what isn't complicated. But that's not all the answer. Mental illness and depression is at 90% of suicides. 90% of suicides are preceded by clues that we didn't notice. Well, why should we notice when we aren't looking for it? Listen, the individuals that are on the school's radar, we're not necessarily concerned about them because, well, they're on the radar. But today it's a lot of school communities saying to me, Jeff, we didn't even know there was a problem. I mean, there were no signs. This is the last person that we would have suspected. I met a girl in Indiana last year. She had a failed suicide attempt. I said, why didn't you ask for help? She looked at me in my eyes. She said, no one asked me. How are we supposed to ask, my friends, when we don't know? Mental illness shouldn't be labeled. It shouldn't have a stigma that goes with it. Mental illness, or like I say, the mentally strong, are the ones that aren't afraid to ask for help. And what we can all do better is saying, hey, my friend, I'm proud of you for asking for help. Listen, the best thing that I've ever done for myself, being a man that lives with mental illness, is ask for help and continue to seek help and practice self-care every day as a priority. I practice self-care every day. As a man that lives with mental illness, I'm diagnosed with major depression, bipolar type 2, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I've come to learn that self-care is why I'm the healthiest that I've ever been. I care about all of you. I'm praying for you and sending my most sincere thoughts of health and happiness and grace, that we all come together. And I also want to make sure that we don't have any copycats. Having said that, I want to address blame and pointing fingers. I know that this isn't the time, nor is it the right thing to do. I know that we're all emotionally charged in the process of grieving. Many of us are angry and emotional. You can understand why. Understandably so. But again, we need to look within ourselves and ask, how can I be most effective as a friend, as a teacher, as an administration, as a parent, as a community? All of us. Counselors, teachers, everybody. What is my best efforts to help and not hurt anyone or the situation that we are now dealing with? Let me share with you this. We might say, hey, how you doing? And the typical response is, I'm good. What does that mean, I'm good? There's so much in the word good. I challenge you with this question. How's your heart? How's your heart? Because now you're answering the two questions that they asked that I talked about earlier, but I didn't tell you the two questions. Question number one, can I trust you? Question number two, do you care about me? That's what we got to answer every day. You know, I hear all too often, the school should have done this, or the school should have done that. You got to do something, or why aren't they doing something? And stop. Everybody. No school administrator is ever given a certificate on how to handle a suicide. And every suicide is different. That doesn't make it right or wrong. I'm sorry, but if I got into it, you'd understand. But every suicide is different and affects the school community differently. A school administrator has two responsibilities: protect their kids, their students. And number two, I think sometimes we forget our staff and teachers. They're hurting just as much. Everyone is in pain. Everyone's shedding tears. Everyone has so many questions. And the best thing that we can all do right now is show our support. You might not like it. It's not our place to like it or to not like it. We all need to step back and look at the big picture objectively. The big picture objectively, I'm sorry. I think this is all of our issue moving forward. We need to do better, all of us. Parenting, teaching, listening, being present, being engaged, asking for help, loving more, judging less, forgiving others, and even forgiving ourselves. Being a person that has grace in their heart. Copycats. Oftentimes a suicide can trigger strong suicidal ideation amongst others. And that's always a major concern that we want to cut off quickly. My friends, ask for help. See something, say something, know something, do something. And in these situations, there's a 13-day window that we have to be careful, because more people are more at risk during this time. Each event you hold in your community is going to bring back these emotions and starts this 13-day window all over again. And I know there's many people that want to reach out. And I think we got to really think about who these people are. And are we helping? Our heart is right and we want to help, but we got to slow down a little bit. I think the other thing is, what do they know about teens and mental health? The piece is going to be left to have to be picked up. Are we putting more pressure on the counselors and the parents and the teachers? Do they know suicide prevention? Teenagers, do they know signs and symptoms and how to teach it, how to engage in the kids? Do they know how to ask a teenager the suicide question, what to do, or what to do if one of your friends is showing the signs? Be careful as we move forward. Be very careful. I know your heart's in the right place, but you could be doing more harm than good. Please be careful. You want to help? Show grace and give hugs. Students, you got a great responsibility, my friends. See something, say something, know something, do something. You guys, I don't care what grade you're in, you are so instrumental in saving the lives and giving hope to your friends. It's okay to ask for help. And what you might be feeling today doesn't mean that that's your future. My friends, it gets better. Life gets better. Today is temporary. You will grow from what you are going through. This is probably the hardest thing you may ever go through. But I'm going to tell you, life, situations, struggles, challenges, breakups, doesn't happen to us. Everything we go through happens for us, because everything that we experience in life shapes us and conditions us. You don't realize that when you live in the here and the now. You really don't realize that when you're young. Life isn't in the here and the now. Everything teaches us. We grow through life's challenges and the tough times, and we all have them. It's like a game. You win, you lose, and you got to learn to lose before you can really appreciate winning. My friends, we all have a story. And within those stories, we all have failures and setbacks. But remember, life shapes us every day. That's what's so beautiful about life. It teaches us. So the responsibility is simple. If we're going to have internet and cell phones and social media platforms, then our government needs to provide the adequate care for what this brings. Simply put, we're giving our young people rights and privileges that they're not emotionally capable of handling. And the consequences this brings without even knowing it leads to many things. Mental health issues, depression, and in many cases, it leads to self-harm or maybe even suicide. I think this is a parent's issue. And parenting today is a greater responsibility than it ever has been. I think it's also society's issues and how we deal with this and how we move forward. I think it takes a village to raise a child. It's also a personal responsibility to be your best advocate. Parents, we need to be the best advocate for our children and their well-being and teach our children to advocate for themselves too. It's okay to ask for help. I don't know how many times I can repeat that. You don't have to have answers to what you're going to do in life right now. You don't need to compare yourself to your friends. You don't need to think about your significance in the world or what your legacy is going to be now. We need to teach and learn coping skills and problem-solving skills. We need to learn self-esteem, valuing who we are. I think education as a whole needs to change. We need to focus more on social and emotional learning. Again, I'm pro-education. But I've worked in the system for 27 years now, and I see flaws in our system. Things need to change, but change also needs to happen first in the home. And nothing changes if nothing changes. I think that's on us personally first. We're graduating young people without them being prepared to jump into the world of uncertainty, struggles, and the unknown. Yet our expectations continue to bring great disappointment, and then our kids think that they're a burden or that they're alone in the world because they haven't figured it out yet. But like I said earlier, figured out what? It's everyday lessons, trials and tribulations and tough times that teach us these incredible lessons in life. Grind through it, my friends. It will be okay. But in grinding through it, remember, you can ask for help. Yeah, pretty simple, right? We need to pride our youth on knowing that it's okay to not be okay. And we need to give our youth the tools to be successful in life. I think that's a parent's job, and teachers do it in the classroom, coaches do it on the field. But in the meantime, my friends, I'll tell you, we need adequate mental health care and counseling. And more importantly, we need more people talking about it. So get comfortable being uncomfortable talking about it. Mental health, it's got to be spoken about. Mental illness got to be spoken about, because the more we talk about it, the greater difference that we're going to make in our communities and the lives of our young people. And we also need more involved parents. Don't personalize what I'm saying, but in my work every day, I meet broken kids that are coming from broken, non-existent parenting influences. We need young people to open up and talk. Ask for help. It's not a weakness. How can people help if our young aren't asking for help? We don't know, and if we don't know, we can't help. You know that we only know what we know. And so we can only do what we have learned. And if you don't ask, you're not going to know. Therefore, you can't really do, because you've never opened up to learn. Like I said, I'm in counseling myself, yet I counsel thousands every month. I know who I am. I know why I'm in counseling and why I take medication. I look in the mirror. I like what I see. It hasn't always been that way, though. You feel me? You ever look in the mirror and not like the reflection that looks back? My friends, no matter who you are, next time you look in the mirror and you don't like the reflection that looks back, don't blame it on the mirror. It just means you got to spend more time there. That's not a bad thing. Spend more time in the mirror being comfortable, being uncomfortable. You'll start figuring it out. Whether you're 8 or 80, I think that's great advice. I think it's also important that we concern ourselves more with who we are rather than how we look. Take care of this. This takes care of itself. Life will change, my friends. Adults, I share with you the 2 questions, and whether you're a teacher, coach, a parent, anyone, we need to answer these 2 questions every single day. Can I trust you? And do you care about me? These 2 questions are the cornerstone of every trusted relationship. We all need to do a better job. Education, our government, teachers, coaches, parents, but most importantly, ourselves. Take responsibility, be your own best advocate. I can't emphasize that enough. It's okay to ask for help. And as I close, I'd like to offer some suggestions as you all move forward. I'd like to invite you to open your heart today and forever, and to know that you have trusted adults always wanting to be there to help you answer life's toughest questions. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help, and remember, my friends, you matter. Don't ever think that you're alone. Don't ever feel that you are a burden to your family, to your school, teachers, friends, or to society. And a quick message to our teachers and staff. Thank you. You make a difference every day. Every day in the lives of these young people that walk your halls and come into your classroom. For many of these kids, you are their inspiration. And so there's so many questions, and in many cases there's few answers. I think we're all responsible. But we need to move forward together. And for our youth and for each other. It's a very sad time. A time that affects us all. A time where we are all growing, and this is going to shape us, but right now we can't see that or comprehend this. You're not a victim, my friends. And I say that sensitively. You're a victor. You're not a volunteer to this pain in your life or circumstances you're going through. It's not your fault. But we have a responsibility, and that's our behavior, our attitude, and our choices. And I want to invite you to choose to be better, to choose to grow, to choose trusted adults, to choose life, to choose love, to choose grace, to choose you. And as we go through this is either going to expose wounds or it's going to build muscles. It's your choice, my friends. How are you going to respond? Allow yourself to grieve on your terms. Suicide and mental health is becoming an economic issue, and we need you. We need you all to speak up. My friends, I love you all. I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. To the Fuller family, I'm sorry. To all the teachers and students and parents, to all the staff, educators, and the whole community, I'm sorry for your pain. Stay beautiful, my friends. I'm thinking of you all. I'm praying for each and every one of you. Again, my name is Jeff Yalden. Social media, I'm at Jeff Yalden, and my website is thejyf.org. I look forward to seeing you all, my friends.